Imagine this. You wake up one morning, the sunlight streaming through your window, the world outside humming with its usual rhythm. But something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's a gnawing sense that the life you're living isn't entirely your own. The choices you've made, the relationships you've built, the dreams you've pursued, what if they weren't truly yours? What if, beneath the surface of your conscious mind, there's a hidden force silently steering the ship of your life, shaping your reality in ways you can't even begin to comprehend? Now, imagine this force isn't some external entity or cosmic puppeteer, but something far more intimate, far more insidious. Your own subconscious mind. The part of you that operates in the shadows, weaving narratives, storing memories, and dictating behaviors without your explicit consent. It's the silent architect of your fears, your desires, your habits, and your beliefs. And yet, you've never truly met it. You've never sat down with it, looked it in the eye, and asked, "Who are you and what do you want from me?" Here's the unsettling paradox. You believe you are in control of your life. You make decisions, set goals, and take actions based on what you think you want. But what if those wants aren't yours? What if they're the echoes of childhood conditioning, societal expectations, or traumas you've long since buried? What if the life you're living is a carefully constructed illusion, a mirage designed by a part of your mind you don't even understand? Consider this. Every day you walk through the world with a set of beliefs about who you are and what you're capable of. But where did those beliefs come from? Were they born out of careful introspection and deliberate choice, or were they handed to you like a script by parents, teachers, or culture? And if they were handed to you, how much of your reality is truly yours? How much of it is a reflection of your authentic self, and how much is a projection of a subconscious mind you've never questioned? This is the great question that lies at the heart of your existence. Who is really in control? Is it the conscious you, the one who reads these words and thinks these thoughts? Or is it the subconscious you, the one who whispers fears into your ear, who sabotages your dreams, who keeps you tethered to a reality that feels safe but stifling? And if it is the subconscious, how do you break free? How do you reclaim the reins of your life and shape a reality that is truly your own? The weight of this question is immense because it challenges the very foundation of your identity. It forces you to confront the possibility that the life you're living is not a product of your conscious choices, but of hidden forces operating beneath the surface. It asks you to consider that the person you think you are is, in many ways, a stranger to yourself. And it leaves you with a haunting realization. If you don't understand your subconscious, you don't understand your reality. And if you don't understand your reality, how can you ever hope to change it? But here's the twist. This isn't just a philosophical musing or a psychological curiosity. This is a matter of existential urgency. Because the subconscious doesn't just shape your reality, it is your reality. It's the lens through which you see the world, the filter through which you interpret every experience, every interaction, every moment of your life. And if that lens is distorted, if that filter is clouded, then your entire existence is built on a foundation of illusions. So, the question isn't just who is in control, it's what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue living a life dictated by unseen forces, or are you going to venture into the shadows, confront the hidden architect of your reality, and reclaim your power? The choice is yours, but know this. The journey into the subconscious is not for the faint of heart. It's a descent into the unknown, a confrontation with the parts of yourself you've spent a lifetime avoiding. But it's also the only way to truly understand, and ultimately transform, your reality. And so we begin. Not with answers but with questions. Not with certainty but with curiosity. Because the first step to understanding your subconscious is to admit that you don't. The first step to reclaiming your reality is to acknowledge that it's not entirely yours. And the first step to freedom is to confront the chains you didn't even know you were wearing. What lies beneath the surface of your mind? What truths are waiting to be uncovered? And what would it mean to finally meet the hidden force that has been shaping your life all along? The answers are closer than you think, but they require you to look where you've never dared to look before. Are you ready? To understand the subconscious is to step into a labyrinth, a maze of memories, emotions, and beliefs that have been accumulating since the moment you were born. It's a place where logic falters and intuition reigns, where the past is not just remembered but relived, and where the boundaries between self and other blur into obscurity. But why does this labyrinth exist? Why has evolution equipped us with a mind that operates so much in the dark, shaping our reality without our conscious awareness? The answer lies in the very nature of survival. Your subconscious is not a flaw in the design, it's a feature. It's the part of your mind that evolved to keep you safe, to automate behaviors, and to process information faster than your conscious mind ever could. Imagine trying to navigate the world if you had to consciously think about every breath, every step, every social interaction. You'd be paralyzed by the sheer volume of decisions. The subconscious, then, is a kind of autopilot, a system designed to free up your conscious mind for higher-order thinking while it handles the mundane, the repetitive, and the instinctual. But here's the problem. What was once a survival mechanism has become a prison. The subconscious doesn't just automate behaviors, it ingrains them. It doesn't just process information, it interprets it through the lens of past experiences. And those experiences, especially the ones from childhood, are not always accurate or helpful. They're often distorted by fear, misunderstanding, or the limitations of a young mind trying to make sense of a complex world. Consider this. When you were a child, you didn't have the cognitive tools to critically analyze the world around you. You absorbed it. You internalized it. If a parent told you that you were too much or not enough, you didn't question it. You believed it. If a teacher dismissed your curiosity or a peer mocked your dreams, you didn't challenge them. You accepted their judgment as truth. These experiences, imprinted on your subconscious, became the building blocks of your identity. They shaped your beliefs about who you are, what you're capable of, and what you deserve. And here's where the psychological roots of the problem deepen. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist, called the subconscious the shadow, a repository for all the parts of ourselves we've rejected, repressed, or denied. These are the aspects of our identity that we've deemed unacceptable, either because they were criticized by others or because they conflicted with the image we wanted to project. But the shadow doesn't disappear. It lurks in the subconscious, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we don't fully understand. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who dared to stare into the abyss, understood this dynamic all too well. He warned that when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. The subconscious is that abyss, a vast, uncharted territory filled with both darkness and potential. To ignore it is to allow it to control you. To confront it is to reclaim the parts of yourself you've lost along the way. But the subconscious isn't just shaped by personal experiences, it's also molded by societal forces. Aldous Huxley, in his dystopian masterpiece Brave New World, explored how culture and conditioning can manipulate the subconscious to maintain control. In our world, the mechanisms may be less overt, but they're no less powerful. From the media we consume to the institutions we're part of, we're constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be, what we should want, and how we should live. These messages seep into our subconscious, shaping our desires and fears without our conscious consent. Jean-Paul Sartre, the existentialist philosopher, argued that we are condemned to be free, that we have no choice but to choose, even when we're unaware of the forces influencing those choices. But what happens when those forces are hidden from us? What happens when our choices are not truly our own, but the product of a subconscious shaped by trauma, conditioning, and societal pressure? This is the hidden problem at the heart of our existence. We are free, but we don't feel free. We are the authors of our lives, but we don't recognize the pen in our hands. And so, we live in a kind of twilight, a half-conscious state where we're aware enough to feel the weight of our choices but not aware enough to understand why we're making them. We chase success, love, and happiness, but we're never quite sure if we're chasing what we truly want or what we've been programmed to want. We strive for freedom, but we're trapped in a web of subconscious beliefs that tell us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. This is the psychological and philosophical root of the problem. The subconscious is both a protector and a jailer. It keeps us safe, but it also keeps us small. It helps us navigate the world, but it also limits how we see it. And until we confront it, until we shine a light into the shadows and question the beliefs that have been silently shaping our reality, we will remain prisoners of our own minds. But here's the glimmer of hope. The subconscious is not immutable. It is not a life sentence. It is a system, and like any system, it can be reprogrammed. The question is not whether it's possible to break free, but whether you're willing to do the work. Are you ready to venture into the labyrinth, to face the shadows, and to reclaim the parts of yourself you've lost along the way? The journey is not easy, but it is necessary. Because the only way to change your reality is to change the mind that's creating it. And so, we turn to the consequences, the silent, unseen ways in which the subconscious shapes not just our individual lives but the world we live in. What happens when an entire society is built on subconscious beliefs? What happens when our collective shadows dictate our collective reality? The answers are as unsettling as they are illuminating. Picture this: a world where every individual walks through life carrying an invisible backpack. Inside this backpack are the weights of unexamined beliefs, unresolved traumas, and unchallenged assumptions. These weights are not just personal burdens, they are collective ones. They shape not only how each person sees the world but how the world itself functions. The subconscious, that silent architect of individual reality, is also the silent architect of society. And its influence is everywhere if you know where to look. Take, for example, the way we relate to power and authority. From a young age, many of us are taught to respect hierarchies, to follow rules without question, and to defer to those in positions of authority. These lessons are often absorbed subconsciously, becoming part of the mental framework through which we interpret the world. But what happens when those in power are corrupt, incompetent, or malevolent? The subconscious conditioning to obey and conform doesn't just disappear. It persists, often leading to compliance with systems and behaviors that harm us. This is how societies slide into authoritarianism, not through the actions of a few, but through the inaction of many, fueled by subconscious beliefs about power, control, and obedience. Or consider the way we relate to success and failure. The subconscious is a master storyteller, weaving narratives about what it means to succeed and what it means to fail. These narratives are often shaped by cultural conditioning, messages about wealth, status, and achievement that seep into our minds from an early age. But what if those narratives are flawed? What if they equate success with material wealth and failure with poverty, ignoring the deeper, more meaningful measures of a life well lived? The result is a society of strivers, constantly chasing external validation while neglecting the inner work that leads to true fulfillment. We see this in the rise of burnout, anxiety, and depression, symptoms of a collective subconscious that has equated worth with productivity and happiness with accumulation. And then there's the way we relate to each other. The subconscious is deeply influenced by the groups we belong to, our families, our communities, our cultures. These groups shape our beliefs about identity, belonging, and difference. But what happens when those beliefs are rooted in fear, prejudice, or exclusion? The subconscious doesn't discriminate between helpful and harmful beliefs. It simply internalizes them. This is how biases are formed, not through conscious hatred but through subconscious conditioning. And these biases don't just affect individuals. They shape entire systems, from education and healthcare to criminal justice and employment. They create a world where inequality is not just tolerated but perpetuated, often by people who would never consciously endorse it. The unseen consequences of the subconscious extend even further, into the realm of perception itself. Cognitive biases, those mental shortcuts that help us process information quickly, are a product of the subconscious. They allow us to make sense of a complex world, but they also distort it. Confirmation bias, for example, leads us to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This is how echo chambers are formed, both online and offline, creating a fractured reality where truth is subjective and common ground is elusive. The subconscious, in its quest for efficiency, becomes a barrier to understanding, empathy, and connection. But perhaps the most insidious consequence of the subconscious is its role in perpetuating cycles of pain and suffering. Trauma, whether personal or collective, leaves a deep imprint on the subconscious. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we relate to others, and how we navigate the world. And because the subconscious operates below the level of awareness, these imprints often go unexamined. They become patterns, repeated behaviors, relationships, and outcomes that feel inevitable but are anything but. This is how cycles of abuse, addiction, and dysfunction are passed down through generations, not through conscious choice but through subconscious conditioning. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once wrote, "Man can do what he wills but he cannot will what he wills." In other words, we have the power to act, but we don't always have control over the desires that drive those actions. This is the paradox of the subconscious. It gives us the tools to navigate the world, but it also limits how we see it. It shapes our desires, our fears, and our beliefs, often without our conscious consent. And in doing so, it shapes our reality, not just as individuals but as a society. The urgency of this issue cannot be overstated. We live in a world that is increasingly complex, interconnected, and fragile. The challenges we face, climate change, political polarization, social inequality, require collective action, but collective action is impossible when our collective subconscious is fractured, fearful, and divided. To change the world, we must first change the minds that are creating it. And to change those minds, we must confront the subconscious forces that are shaping them. But how? How do we break free from the patterns and beliefs that have been silently guiding us? How do we reclaim control of our minds and, by extension, our reality? The answers lie not in avoidance or denial, but in confrontation and integration. It's time to venture into the shadows, to shine a light on the hidden forces that have been shaping our lives, and to reclaim the power we've ceded to them. The journey is not easy, but it is necessary. Because the only way to change the world is to change the minds that are creating it. And so, we turn to the rebellion, the radical shift in perspective that challenges everything we thought we knew about ourselves and our reality. What does it mean to break free from the subconscious? What does it take to reclaim control of our minds and our lives? The answers are as revolutionary as they are liberating. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, dark forest. This forest is your subconscious, a place filled with tangled memories, buried emotions, and hidden beliefs. For most of your life, you've avoided it, preferring to stay in the familiar clearing of your conscious mind. But now you realize that the clearing is not enough. It's too small, too limited, too safe. If you want to break free from the patterns that have been silently shaping your reality, you must venture into the forest. You must confront the shadows. This is the essence of the rebellion, a radical shift in perspective that challenges everything you thought you knew about yourself and your reality. It's not about fighting the subconscious or trying to destroy it. It's about understanding it, integrating it, and ultimately transforming it. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you've lost along the way and rewriting the narratives that have been holding you back. The first step in this rebellion is awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. This means turning your gaze inward, becoming an observer of your own mind. Pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors. Notice the patterns that repeat themselves, the triggers that set you off, the beliefs that guide your actions. This is not an easy task. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to face discomfort. But it is essential. As Carl Jung famously said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Once you've begun to shine a light on your subconscious, the next step is to question it. This is where the rebellion truly begins. Every belief, every assumption, every narrative that you've internalized must be put on trial. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it true? Does it serve me? This process of questioning is not about rejecting everything you've ever believed. It's about discerning what is authentically yours and what has been imposed upon you. It's about reclaiming your agency and your power. Consider, for example, the belief that you're not good enough. Where did that come from? Was it a parent who criticized you, a teacher who dismissed you, a peer who mocked you? And is it true? Are you really not good enough, or is that just a story you've been telling yourself? And if it's just a story, why are you still holding on to it? What would happen if you let it go? This process of questioning is not just intellectual, it's emotional. It requires you to sit with your discomfort, to feel the pain of your past, and to grieve the losses you've endured. But it's also liberating. Because once you've questioned a belief, once you've seen it for what it really is, it loses its power over you. You can choose to keep it or you can choose to let it go. The choice is yours. The third step in the rebellion is integration. This is where you bring the shadows into the light, where you reclaim the parts of yourself you've rejected or denied. It's about embracing your wholeness, your complexity, your humanity. This is not an easy task. It requires vulnerability, compassion, and self-acceptance. But it is essential. Because the parts of yourself you've rejected are not just obstacles, they're also opportunities. They contain the seeds of your growth, your creativity, your potential. Consider, for example, the part of yourself that's afraid of failure. What if, instead of trying to eliminate that fear, you embraced it? What if you saw it not as a weakness but as a strength? What if you recognized that the fear of failure is also the desire to succeed, the drive to grow, the courage to try? By integrating this part of yourself, you transform it from a source of limitation into a source of power. The final step in the rebellion is creation. This is where you rewrite the narratives that have been shaping your reality. It's about consciously choosing the beliefs, the values, the goals that guide your life. This is not about creating a new illusion. It's about creating a new reality, one that is authentic, meaningful, and fulfilling. It's about becoming the author of your own story. Consider, for example, the narrative that life is a struggle. What if, instead of accepting that narrative, you chose to see life as an adventure? What if you saw every challenge as an opportunity, every setback as a lesson, every moment as a gift? By rewriting this narrative, you transform your experience of reality. You shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance, from a mindset of fear to a mindset of possibility. This process of creation is not just personal, it's also collective. Because the narratives that shape our individual realities also shape our collective reality. By rewriting your own story, you contribute to the rewriting of the world's story. You become a force for change, a catalyst for transformation. The rebellion is not easy. It requires courage, commitment, and a willingness to face the unknown. But it is also profoundly liberating. It's about reclaiming your power, your agency, your authenticity. It's about breaking free from the patterns that have been silently shaping your reality and creating a new reality, one that is truly your own. And so, we turn to the ultimate truth, the final, most powerful realization that redefines how you see reality. What is the ultimate truth about the subconscious? What is the ultimate truth about yourself? The answers are as profound as they are transformative. Here it is, the moment of reckoning, the culmination of this journey into the depths of your mind. The ultimate truth is not a single static fact but a dynamic, living realization. You are not separate from your subconscious. You are the subconscious. The division between the conscious and the unconscious mind is an illusion, a construct created to help you navigate the complexity of your existence. But in truth, there is no you and it. There is only you, whole, integrated, and infinitely complex. This realization is both liberating and humbling. It means that the power to shape your reality has always been within you, not as a distant force to be conquered or controlled, but as an intrinsic part of who you are. The subconscious is not an enemy to be defeated, it is a partner to be understood. It is not a shadow to be feared, it is a mirror reflecting the totality of your being. And when you look into that mirror with courage and compassion, you see not just the fragments of your past but the infinite possibilities of your future. The ultimate truth is this: your reality is not something that happens to you, it is something you create. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is a brushstroke on the canvas of your existence. The subconscious is the hand that holds the brush, but you are the artist. You have the power to choose the colors, the shapes, the patterns. You have the power to create a masterpiece or a mess. The choice is yours. But here's the catch: creation is not a one-time event, it is an ongoing process. The subconscious is always at work, always shaping, always creating. And if you are not conscious of this process, if you are not actively participating in it, you will default to the patterns of the past. You will recreate the same stories, the same struggles, the same limitations. This is why the rebellion is not a one-time act but a lifelong practice. It is a commitment to staying awake, to staying aware, to staying engaged with the creative process of your life. The ultimate truth also reveals the interconnectedness of all things. Just as your subconscious shapes your individual reality, the collective subconscious shapes our shared reality. The beliefs, the fears, the desires that reside in the depths of our minds ripple outward, influencing the world in ways we can scarcely imagine. This is why the work of self-discovery is not just a personal endeavor, it is a collective responsibility. By transforming your own subconscious, you contribute to the transformation of the world. Consider this: every act of courage, every moment of compassion, every step toward self-awareness sends a ripple through the collective subconscious. It challenges the old narratives, the old patterns, the old ways of being. It creates space for new possibilities, new stories, new realities. This is the power of the ultimate truth. It shows you that you are not just a passive participant in the world, you are an active co-creator. And so, the journey ends where it began, with a question. But this time, the question is not one of fear or doubt, it is one of possibility. What will you create? What kind of reality will you shape, not just for yourself but for the world? The answer lies not in the past or the future but in the present moment, in the choices you make, in the awareness you bring to each breath, each thought, each action. The ultimate truth is not a destination, it is a way of being. It is a call to live with intention, with curiosity, with love. It is a reminder that you are not a victim of your circumstances but a creator of your reality. And it is an invitation to step into the fullness of your power, to embrace the totality of your being, and to create a life that is not just lived but truly alive. As you stand at the edge of this new understanding, let it sink in. Let it reshape how you see yourself, how you see the world, how you see the very nature of reality. Let it inspire you to venture into the shadows, not with fear but with curiosity. Let it empower you to rewrite the narratives that have been silently shaping your life. And let it remind you that you are not just a passenger on this journey, you are the driver. The ultimate truth is this: you are the architect of your reality. The subconscious is your blueprint, but you hold the pen. The past is your foundation, but the future is your canvas. And the present is your moment to create something extraordinary. So what will you create? The answer is yours and yours alone. But know this: whatever you choose, it will ripple outward, shaping not just your reality but the reality of everyone around you. This is the power of the ultimate truth. This is the power of you.